Hey loves. So I'm on here today. It's Friday, it's noon. I'd like to start doing these a little more regularly, maybe once a week. We'll see how it goes. But to kind of get on here for like 15 minutes, right? Like a nice quick 15-minute fill up with like soul fill up and like all good stuff. So, for those of you who haven't met me, my name's Jillian. I own the studio, Oracle and Alchemy. And I really just want to get on here and kind of chat for a couple minutes, sort of go through my thoughts today, and then give you some updates on what's going on in the studio. And then the last 5 minutes of this will end with like a breath practice, a little bit of a somatic fill up as well. So stay tuned, stick with me. A little bit about our studio, just so you know, like I'm Jillian, I run the studio, I teach at the studio. We're really like an open spiritual space where we do a lot of hard physical work. We do a lot of hard spiritual work. We do a lot of hard emotional work, healing, all of that stuff. And we move in ways to improve our body, just like you would with any yoga class, strengthening, flexibility, all of that. And then we also move to have this somatic release. So a lot of what we do is breath work. We do somatic shaking, kundalini, which is a lot of energy movement in practice. And I thought about it today, and we had one of our classes this morning. It's called Ether on our schedule. It's our kundalini practice, and every Friday we do a really hard kriya, and we pick a hard kriya for the month. So every Friday when you come into 7 a.m. Ether, it's always like a really hard kriya. Kriya just means like a set of movements in kundalini, and this one's like really challenging. So it's all about the navel plexus, and you're strengthening and getting all this core work. But what's happened in the past couple of weeks is our students who regularly have come have had a somatic release, right? Whether it's a highly emotional release throughout the whole practice, or if it's tears flowing after the kriya or during the kriya. There's a lot of energy moving from these kriyas. So the students reminded me this morning, they were talking about these somatic experiences that they had, and different, right, each week with each student. Sometimes anger can come up because a lot of this energy that's been built up in your body is kind of starting to stir up and release, and it gets really uncomfortable. Sometimes it's tears, like it was last week for one of our students. Today it was something really emotional. So I'm bringing this to light because we oftentimes think that movement is only to like work out and be stronger and look better. And those are all really awesome things. But movement is also a workout for your emotions and for your mental wellness. So, in your spirit, of course, too, right? So we don't want to forget that as well. So when these kundalini practices happen, like we do this morning for this really hard kriya, it starts to stimulate these areas where you've been like holding on to energy, and it starts to move all that energy, and it starts to get really uncomfortable, which is a really awesome thing, right? Because you're in a safe place, you're in a trauma-informed studio, and you're in a safe environment with community. So these releases are beautiful, and it's a reminder that our body, in this somatic realm, right, can help us to heal our mind, our emotions, our spirituality, all of those wonderful things. So encouraging you to not just look at movement as a workout or something to strengthen yourself, but also as a way for you to tap into these other parts of you so that you can feel really aligned and really good. Now, the cool thing of what happened this morning is like if you haven't been to the studio, it's like a tiny intimate studio. And the community there is really strong, right? So if you come in and you haven't met everyone, usually whoever's there is like, hey, I'm so-and-so, who are you? And there's this collective community there, which is really cool. So the awesome thing that happened this morning is that after our practice and after these emotional releases that happened from our really difficult physical practice, the community hung out together and they talked to each other and supported each other in their healing journey, and talked about it and had this just like really healing chat of like, oh, me too, and oh, I felt that before, and oh, this is what happened with me. And it was just this really connective, beautiful community moment of healing together. So it's really cool to have this like tiny intimate space where we can sort of collectively move and breathe and heal together. And I just want to bring that to light to you so you feel maybe a little bit more encouraged to find the freedom in your movement and your spiritual practice to also connect to one another in safe spaces, in community. It's just it was a really special morning. It's a really special time. And I feel like it's just a gift. So that's my little like small TED talk for today. But I wanted to kind of like brief you on what's going on in the studio, because I know if you haven't been in the studio, you're probably like, holy Lord, there's like so many things going on. So really quickly, I'll brief you on that, and then we'll get into this breath practice, a little bit of somatic exercise, and more of a Kundalini practice, just as you're seated in your chair or on your lunch break or at the office or whatever. You can do it right there. It's not like too wild of a practice, but it'll help you kind of somatically reset so you can move into the rest of your day and then into the rest of your weekend. So a few things we have going on at the studio. Tomorrow is at the studio and is collabing with Velvet and Chrome. If you're interested in taking a yin class, jumping on a bicycle, taking a community bike ride, and going to Velvet and Chrome for a pole dancing class, we're collabing on that. There's still a couple spots left. Ellen, who owns Velvet and Chrome, is a magical human being, and her studio is gorgeous and also another safe space to explore who you are. It's open to everyone. It doesn't matter age, gender, whatever. It's open to everyone. So that's going on tomorrow. We have next week, we have book club. If you haven't been a part of book club, we read a different book every month. We choose 2 fiction, 1 nonfiction. This month we're talking Circe, and it's next Thursday. If you're interested, it's totally free. We meet at the studio, we hang out, we get in community, talk about it, bring snacks, whatever. Before that, we'll have our worship class. Worship is where we centrally move through yoga practice. So it's much more like dark lights, sexy music. It's a really like a way to embody your sensuality rather than avoid it or be uncomfortable with it. Again, in a safe space with community in a trauma-informed environment. So I teach that class usually, and it's just a good time. So we have that going on next Thursday. And then next Saturday, we start our new courses. So we have Witchling 100, which is for anyone who's like curious about being a witch, curious about paganism, curious about earth practices and earth spirituality. Witchling 100 is kind of like a foundational class. It's 4 weeks, and it sort of goes through like the elements of witchcraft and crossover with yoga and shamanism. And it goes through casting spells and what all this means, right? We get into this like witchy, gothy vibe, like in what we see in the rest of the world. But this is really to like kind of honor your practice and hone your skills. And then right after, we'll start the next Spellwork 101 course, which has been pretty popular. So we'll start that right after. You can double up or just take one or the other. Spellwork 101 is a 4-week course where you learn how to create spells, build spells, and it's generally around the moon archetypes. So you'll learn about those and then how to formulate a spell, kind of a long spell, if you will, over this course. So it's really unique and special. That being said, keep on your calendar, midsummer is coming up, otherwise known as summer solstice, on the 21st. Whatever that Saturday is, I think it's the 20th. We'll be doing our yoga mala, which is 108 sun salutations, and we'll be putting in there a Kundalini 108, so it's going to be a little extra hard, but it's a transformational practice if you've never done a yoga mala. So keep that on your schedule. It hasn't been announced yet. The last thing we're going to do is or that I'm going to talk about before we get into this breath work, is our witch camp. So it doesn't mean you have to be a witch. Right? No one has to identify as a witch. What is, whatever. But we're having witch camp, and it's going to be in Asheville in the Blue Ridge Mountains at the end of July, beginning of August. And there's still some spots left for that. You'll be in a shared, really it's a cabin, but it's much more like a tiny house. It has like a kitchen and a full bathroom and like whatever. And it's right on this rolling creek. It's beautiful. And the whole compound, and I try to avoid saying that because it sounds so culty, but the whole compound is like off in the mountains by itself. So we'll be all together. Nicole Picou, who owns Into the Feral, will be doing an herbalist workshop there. Amber Nichols, who owns Reiki and Rocks, she's going to be doing she makes these beautiful handcrafted like smoke bundles and whatever. She's going to be doing crafty workshops. Dee, who teaches at the studio, is going to be doing these really spiritual, like deep journaling practices, and I'll be there teaching some more of like the ethical earth-based spirituality of witchcraft and paganism. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to be super like just community oriented, close knitted, beautiful stuff. So we'll do some nature hikes. We'll go into Asheville, all that stuff. Anyway, let's get into it. So if you haven't done breath practice, or if you haven't done Kundalini, or if you haven't done anything yoga related, right? This might feel a little uncomfortable for you, but the one that I chose today should feel like a little bit calming. So we're going to get into mudra. Mudras are these shapes with our hands that we make to kind of create different energy in the body. And if you're like, that sounds pretty woo, right? We're going to come into what we call Christ mudra or prana mudra today, where you just bring your index and pinky, or your ring finger and your pinky to your thumb. And you'll notice here, if you hold your mudra, right, this feels like a specific energy. And if you separate your fingers, it's like saying, it's just reading hand gestures right now. Oh my God. So anyway, so that's a different energy. This feels like a different energy, right? So mudras are really expressive and help us kind of move energy through the body. So we're in prana mudra, and Kundalini, we call it Christ mudra. So if you've ever seen those pictures of Christ doing this. So elbow by your side, this left hand, it's probably reversed. So this left hand is right by your ear. You have an arc line, a halo line over your head. And so we're going to kind of tap into that a little bit. Your right hand is also in Christ mudra, and you're going to bring it just in front of your heart space here. So underneath your sternum is your thymus gland, and your thymus gland is where like T cells are formed, and all this healing kind of begins. So we're bringing this element of mudra and tapping in with our breath to find this calming, healing energy in the body. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And with your eyes closed or soft, let your eyes fall down towards the tip of your nose, that gaze looking down here. And just starting to come into some sacred breath as you breathe in through the nose, recognizing the breath traveling up through the nostrils. And through the nose, you'll breathe out. And again, tracing the breath as you inhale. And through the nose, you'll exhale it all right back out. And just noticing these breaths start to calm the body already. And maybe you feel the energy in your fingers, but it's your time to tap into your body. Maybe where you feel a little heavier or more energy in the body. Or if I were to ask you today where you don't feel peace in your body, where does that live? And offer your breath there. And keeping this exact mudra, right? The energy is moving through the fingertips here. Your ring and pinky are touching the thumb, right? So we know that's energy keeping the index and middle finger together. You'll keep that long, deep breathing through the nose. And you're going to start to tap the sternum. Just gently, Nothing too hard. And maybe you find a spot that feels really nice that you just keep tapping. And just keeping on that sternum, tapping into the thymus gland, we start to activate the vagus nerve. All of this stimulating our parasympathetic nervous system where we feel calm and safe. And just continuing to breathe here. That left hand remains by the ear. We're tapping into our yin side, that energy of healing, of heaviness, that lunar energy, right? So that dark energy, the creative energy, and allowing that to start to be stimulated by those fingers traveling upward, activating that arc line of the body. And allowing ourselves to be more in our lunar energy as we head into the rest of our day, as we head into our weekend, where we don't have to do, produce, work, go so much, or maybe we do, but we can tap into this yin energy, right? That calming nervous system reset. The soothing, serene, lunar energy. And just keep tapping here and keep breathing. Good. On your next big breath in, press the fingers into the sternum. Breathe in. Pause at the top. Open mouth. Breathe in. Pause at the top. Let all that energy build. Open mouth. One more time. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Good. Release the mudra and just shake your hands. Shake your wrists, shake your hands. Continue with that deep breathing. Shake your arms, shake your shoulders. Right, somatic shaking, this is what we call it. Releasing any stored up energy. Really getting into your shoulders, maybe twisting a little bit. Nice, powerful breaths. Good. Bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra at heart center and just take a deep breath. Right in this brief breath practice, just noticing how you feel and tapping into the peace that exists within you and recognizing the body as this sacred tool, the sacred vessel of peace and serenity, of a place you can go to find your way out of the heaviness where you feel stuck mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And just honoring all that is you today. Happy Friday, y'all. In Kundalini, we say Sat Nam. It means truth is my name, or I am truth. So Sat Nam to all of you. Love you all. I'll see you hopefully next Friday. I'd like to do these every Friday at noon and just a little bit different each time. So just want to send you all some good love and some good vibes and some good energy for the weekend. So go be it, live it, light it up, and just have a great weekend. Love you all.